Lisa, you're going to hear about some great moms, and mine is one of them. My mom was born November 8th, 1882. That's 1882. The daughter of German immigrants. Mary Xanter was born in a place up the hill from here on St. Joseph's Ridge. Her family ran a tavern called Xanter's, which included a bar, an upstairs living quarters, a ballroom, a post office, and a working farm. Young Mary Xanter was musical, teaching herself to play the piano and the organ. A certain young man began to frequent the dance hall at Xanter's Tavern. His name was Peter Hundt. Peter loved to dance and soon caught the eye of young Mary. The friendship led to Sunday afternoon picnics, family events, and long buggy rides in the moonlight. And love was in the air. They were married on November 23rd, 1904. Their first home was a farm which consisted of a small barn, a chicken coop, and a log home which is still standing today. After several years, they realized this farm was too small, too far from church and school. So they made arrangements to buy a different farm, which was bigger and closer to everything. As their farm grew, so did their family. It grew, and it grew, and it grew. 9 girls and 5 sons. My twin sister and I are number 13 and 14. Ma was 46 years old when we were born. As a young boy, I remember Ma gathering us kids around the piano, playing songs for us, usually her favorite church hymns. On cold winter mornings in the old farmhouse, Ma would have the round oak heater blazing red hot so we could run downstairs and dress by the fire. Our clothes would be all clean and neatly laid out for us. Even the patches were clean and ironed. First Fridays were special days for Ma. She never missed Mass on First Friday for many years. On those days, Ma would pack us salmon sandwiches, which were a real treat for us kids. I still remember how good those sandwiches tasted. Sometimes after Mass, Ma would stay and visit school for a while. When we were old enough to go to a bigger school, Ma was still involved, but we were old enough now to be on our own. She let us learn by doing and making our own mistakes, which were many. It was during these years that I started to notice how much Ma prayed. It took me many years to realize the importance of her constant prayer and her special devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. Her example has stuck with me throughout my life. Early on, we were all taught the Rosary, which we prayed as a family. During Advent and Lent, as hard as we tried, there was no escape. I remember when I was about 10 or 12 years old, going Christmas shopping with Ma. Our once-a-year journey to the big city of La Crosse. She would take us to see the Christmas display in the Dorflinger's window, and then to Coney Island for a couple of Coney dogs. I think they were 9 cents each at the time. It's still one of my favorite places to eat. Growing up meant being part of the workforce on a farm. Everyone was expected to do their part. Ma carried more than her share of the load. I remember helping Ma get the brooder house ready for baby chicks. My teenage years started out with a bang, Pearl Harbor, and the start of World War II. A vivid memory of my Ma coming out of the house, tears streaming down her cheeks. "We're at war," she exclaimed. She was concerned, of course, about her 5 sons going off to war. Those war years meant a lot of hard work for all of us. You remember, farms weren't automated like they are now. Everything was hard work, making loose hay, shocking oats and corn, sawing wood, harvesting tobacco, and much more. Ma was involved in all the work, even milking cows by hand. If the cows weren't home from the pasture by milking time, off Ma would go, rosary in hand, and bring them home. One luxury Ma allowed herself was listening to a few soapies on the radio. Stella Dallas, Ma Perkins, and several others. But I was busy with another task while she was listening, sewing, mending socks, or patching overalls, or peeling potatoes. Years went by and all left home, but every Sunday, whoever could make it was there on the farm for Sunday dinner. If you came to visit Ma, you never left empty-handed. Ma always had something for you when you left, a box of potatoes, some veggies, or a dozen eggs. By this time, Ma and Pa were getting up in years. One time, Ma was going to the barn. I'd do this. I would read this. Ma went to the barn to check on Pa during a snowstorm. She fell on the ice and broke a hip. We all urged them to give up the farm and move to town and take it a little easier. So in 1963, Peter and Mary moved to La Crosse and sold the farm to my wife and me, where we still reside today. By this time, Ma's health was getting bad and her mind was going long before the word Alzheimer's was ever heard of. She was confined to a wheelchair, so we had to move her to Hillview Nursing Home, where she remained the rest of her life. Not a day went by when one of us didn't stop for a visit. Often we would sing her favorite hymns and notice how her face would light up when she recognized one of them. Her 10 long years at Hillview must have been very traumatic for her after such a long and active life, but she knew it was all part of God's plan. In 1983, Ma died at the age of 101. She never lost her devotion to her faith or her family. She had 3 goals in life: to please her God, her husband, and her family. She accomplished that and more. I'm sure there's a special place in heaven for people like Ma. So, see you soon, Ma. Thanks.